Sanjiv Bhasin joins us live to talk about where he feels that things are headed, at least for this week. कैसी रही दिवाली संजीव साहब?
गुड मॉर्निंग निकुंज आपको भी शुभकामनाएं। बहुत बढ़िया रही दिवाली, बाजार भी अच्छा है और माहौल भी अच्छा है। फॉर वंस दी AQI लेवल माने पटाखे बहुत कम बजे, लोगों में अवेयरनेस भी है। दो आई थिंक चिल्ड्रन आर डिप्राइव्ड ऑफ व्हाट वी वेंट थ्रू अ गुड टाइम, बट because of pollution, you know how much of hazard that is. However, I think there was more of lighting, and at least from the two shops which I went to, I thought they were chock-a-block. और वो छोटा जो किराना वाले बायर्स है ना छोटी चीजों के, वो कंजम्पशन बहुत स्ट्रांग है। तो आई वुड गिव इट अ थम्स अप दैट आई थिंक डिस्क्रिशनरी एंड some of the staple spending has picked up, but the bigger range remains that houses, construction, that activity I think is going to propel from here right up till the elections and beyond.
Is there a trade in the short term in any of the jewelry stocks, in any of the retail stocks, in any of the textile stocks, considering that just about everyone I've spoken to, they've said the following: long lines or very long lines and really very long lines were outside big stores.
Correct. So retail mein you are seeing that I think Reliance Retail will be the biggest beneficiary. They are adding about 800 units, 800 outlets per quarter. So I think that is one thing which is getting unnoticed by the market, how fast Reliance Retail is now expanding into the market share and gaining market share. Pehle they had about 2,000 outlets, now it's 800 per quarter. So you can imagine how fast this multiplicity will be, and that caters to all needs. Second, if you want to buy jewelry, most people will suggest smaller names, but stay with the brand leader Titan. There is no question with in North India or Delhi, at least there are weddings like you cannot believe how many weddings there are in the next 2 months because saya bahut bhari hai, and I think Titan will be the best play on that. And thirdly, you said textiles, so you can buy a mix of stocks. Nahar Spinning and Monte Carlo are two stocks which we own from much lower levels. And we think they are very good play on the expanding market, both on the woolen wear and the other, cotton textile, which they are doing extremely well. So these are few names which I can suggest.
Hi, morning. And given that there's been a furious rally taking place within the entire PSU space, a lot of the a lot of the defense sector stocks, a lot of the railway stocks have had a pretty powerful run. Do you think that there's more steam left in this space? And which stocks do you like?
So Avan, everyone is talking Samvat to Samvat. Someone is talking of large cap underperformance. The stars have been REC, PFC, NTPC and Coal India. And you kept doubting the rally and they kept going higher. So I think that there is still more steam there. I would not advocate that you just buy fresh ad hoc, but do a sip in some of these stocks. These are on a multi-year high, which means that there is so much of under participation, particularly from mutual funds and FIs, that these are going to be huge outperformers. You can add a Tata Power, which I think will be the best power play on the private side, but don't miss this basket of REC, PFC, NTPC and Coal India, and add an NMDC. I think if you bought these 5 stocks as a SIP, you will be richly rewarded for the next 6 months. But also add a Tata Power in that basket.
Let's look at some mid-cap names which have done rather well for themselves. I would say actually not mid-cap, but 2-digit names. Sanjeev, one is Vodafone. Second one is JP Associates. Vodafone we've discussed again and again with you, but what is the reason why a business like JP Associates has made a comeback? I mean, in Suzlon for that matter, it was almost like on the backbench. Nobody thought Suzlon could make this kind of a comeback, both in terms of business or in terms of perception. 3 rupee stock has become a 40 rupee stock.
So Nikunj, I'll give you some disclosures. We have this in our portfolio, and as a disclosure, I have it in my portfolio. I've been advocating from 8-9 rupees, which was very frustrating for most. The simple reason for JP is that out of that 27,000 crore debt which they talk of, almost 23,000 is on an SPV. which is again going on in the NCLT. ICICI has actually said that they should be out of NCLT because a large part of their businesses, particularly their civil contraction and others, are doing extremely well. They are into hotel, they are into hospitality. They still have a 5 million ton capacity on the cement side, clinker, which is under sale. And if you took a sum parts of all their businesses, then the value of the asset will be far greater than what the market cap even now after doubling is. And that was what the reasoning behind it was. Secondly, they've got a lot of relief in the shape that large part of the NCLT is now, there's been an absence of an Allahabad court judge for the last 2 years. So you can imagine how long this has been prolonged. And like I said, the value rise in the high eyes of the beholder, but you have to go through the pain. Vodafone, simply put, is two things: 42.5% EBITDA on a turnover of around 10,700. Now there is hardly any loss of subscriber base. 5G's penetration is already started in about 5 cities. 3, the infusion of capital will actually reinforce confidence in the lenders. 4, 33% is owned by Government of India. They have not defaulted on any bank loan as such, but the perception has always been bad. I think that ARPU is at 142 and rising, and given that there is going to be capital infusion, will again reinforce confidence. I would think this can set the pace for this stock to be a huge outperformer on the back that business is very good. But the problem has been capital, the problem has been a slight bit of perception, and that all is, on the anvil of seeing a huge change.
ONGC, Coal India, NTPC. What is the common theme? Well, government. Second, natural resource, power, and largely it was something to do with commodities. Let me put it this way. Now, Sanjiv, given that we are looking at a decline in crude, we are looking at drop in demand, we are looking at China slowing down, and US has also hit a peak growth according to all economists. If the underlying template for commodities is weak, then why should Coal India and ONGC do well?
Yeah, so you should, half the credit goes to Putin and the Russia-Ukraine crisis, which actually put the whole scenario, changed the whole scenario of thermal power. And where people had written off Coal India at 90, that thermal will no longer be in existence and so on. All those soothsayers are, have been caught on the wrong foot. I think that power is in a very, very strong space. Recoveries, receivables, transmission, and thermal power in India is a no-brainer. So you are aware of how this whole Russian crisis actually escalated and told you that the demand for coal is going to be huge. Now, in this backdrop, you can understand that ONGC was a value play even at 90, even at 150. And despite crude prices being volatile, look at the numbers. Third is again NTPC, where again, like I said, a fixed rate of return. Now recoveries on the fastest, and this transmission, transmission has been the best play in India in the last 2 years. And kudos to Minister R.K. Singh and the policies, because REC PFC's cost of money and their performance is actually belying expectations how well they could be. Secondly, Nikunj, what has happened is that basket of PSUs, the large caps are always ONGC, NTPC, because of being their heavyweights, and for foreigners to buy and sell, that becomes a easier conduit, even though the valuations look stretched. So I think that basket of PSUs, again, with power being the outstander and Hindustan Aeronautics and BL being the next in line, this is a very, very sweet spot to be in. Like you said, if global growth is down, then you have the OMCs, which have made a very strong comeback. 88, 89, IOC is 100, BPCL and HPCL are hitting almost 52-week highs. So I think the undervaluation of PSUs and the large cap ones particularly is seeing a lot of attention and a lot of participation.
Sanjiv, always have a pleasure to have you on the show. We'll let you go on that note. Thanks for joining in.